Hello, everybody. Good afternoon. It is time for another Seahawks video because we've got a little bit of news that is relevant to this team. Well, actually, the news isn't that relevant to this team, and that's probably the most disappointing part. The fact that the team was not involved in either of the two news tidbits that I'm about to jump into concerning the NFL. So, first, I'm going to lead off with the news that just broke about half an hour ago. Adam Schefter and several others have reported that former All-Pro wide receiver Josh Gordon, who is being reinstated, is planning to sign with the Kansas City Chiefs, sources tell ESPN. Josh Gordon has since confirmed this report on his own Twitter account. So Josh Gordon is going to sign with the Kansas City Chiefs and get to play with Mahomes, Tyreek Hill, Travis Kelce, and the rest of the crew as they try to right the ship on their 1-2 start. He will not be trying to help right the ship on our team's 1-2 start. So, now, I want to be clear on something. I like Josh Gordon. I was interested in getting him. I wanted to pick him up. I think he could have helped this team a little bit. But by no means did I think that Josh Gordon was going to be the fix. By no means did I think Josh Gordon was going to be a massive upgrade at the position. I didn't think that he was really going to move the needle that much. I just believed that he was probably better than Freddie Swain and would allow us to slowly work Dwayne Eskridge back in if we feel like there are any lingering effects of his concussion. But I did not think he was going to be the thing that fixed this team's problems. I did not think he was going to be the reason why this team started winning games instead of losing games like they have the last 2 weeks. Josh Gordon is a receiver who hasn't played for about a year and a half. He's been bounced out of the league many times. You can argue that he's had his chances, and you can easily argue that his days of being even an above-average NFL wide receiver are gone. But there was very little to lose, and there was a little something to gain. I would have done it. But make no mistake, Josh Gordon was not going to be the thing that fixed this team's problems. He was just going to be a slight upgrade at one position for at least a couple of weeks, possibly for the whole season. But I do not see receiver being the overwhelmingly dominant problem on this team right now. I don't see receiver really being that bad on this team. Yes, Freddie Swain's a little underqualified to be a number 3 receiver. He's not going to be the number 3 receiver for long. I just wanted to bring in Josh Gordon because I felt like he fit well with Wilson, and I think he could fit well with this offense. But it's small potatoes. This next thing, however, is not. And I'm going to get into this a little bit. So, earlier this morning, the Carolina Panthers made a significant trade. The Panthers traded with the Jacksonville Jaguars, 2 franchises that entered the NFL in 1996, make a swap. Cornerback CJ Henderson. You might know that name because I've talked about him a lot in recent weeks or months. And a 5th round pick. The Jaguars receive tight end Dan Arnold and a 3rd round pick. So the Panthers gave up a mediocre tight end and a 3rd round pick, and they got a recent top 10 draft pick in CJ Henderson and a 5th rounder. I stand by my belief that this team does have talented players. There are teams out there that are more talented than us, but I do believe we have good players. I do believe we have talent. I like this team's roster in most areas. But at the same time, we do have some areas of deficiencies. And as much as I do sort of defend Trey Flowers, I know he's not good. DJ Reed is not good. Right now, after what he did on Sunday, I can't even say Ugo Amadi is good. And I've thought Ugo Amadi was pretty good his whole career here, or at least ever since last year. I don't know if Marquise Blair is good because he's never on the field. So these guys, I don't think they're the problem. I don't think they're nearly as bad as some people think. I don't think that Sidney Jones is going to be appreciably better than them, even though he definitely deserves a shot. But if you wanted to maybe dig your way out of this hole with a player, CJ Henderson had a chance to be that guy. And to see the Panthers get him for relatively little, We are talking a third-round pick and a mediocre tight end. This actually makes me angry. Missing out on Josh Gordon, I guess you could have done it and it might have made things a little bit better, but I'm not angry about that. This makes me angry, and it makes me suspect that the team is sort of just married to having a mediocre season and blowing things up. I feel like this was a great chance to actually improve your talent. CJ Henderson was a top 10 draft pick just, less than 2 years ago. He was a great player in college. I think he played in a zone defense in Florida. I think he would have been a good fit for the Carroll scheme. I think he would have been a good fit for what we like to do on defense. He's obviously a blue chipper. You don't become a top 10 pick without being a blue chipper. And as a rookie, CJ Henderson did play pretty well for a god-awful team. I know he might have an attitude problem. I understand that, but sometimes you got to take a risk to turn what is quickly turning into a disastrous season. So you miss out on CJ Henderson, which to me is a sign that this team isn't that invested in improving. That's one thing that I'm really going to hold against this team going forward. This was a great opportunity to go get that blue chipper who could have turned your team around just through talent. Because if we stick with the current coaches, which right now seems to be what we're going to do for at least this week, and probably the rest of the year if we're being straight honest, I don't think these coaches are going to be able to do anything to turn this team around. I don't believe in those guys anymore. I don't trust those guys. But maybe you could just overwhelm all of it with a massive amount of talent. Maybe if you got the most talented players in the league, maybe if you got a whole bunch of blue chippers, you could overcome the deficiencies of the coaching staff. CJ Henderson was a bona fide blue chipper on the market, and Jacksonville was so sick of him, they basically, I don't want to say gave him away, but they didn't get a whole heck of a lot back for him. Don't tell me that Jacksonville wouldn't have done CJ Henderson for our third-round pick straight up. Panthers are 3-0 right now, and I know they're probably down a couple of key players. They're probably not going to be great this year, but right now, their third-round pick probably looks less appetizing than our third-round pick. You could make a very compelling argument that that's the case. So if you called up Jacksonville and said, hey, third-round pick for CJ Henderson, if they said yes to this trade with Carolina, I think they would have said yes to that trade. And if you had to throw in somebody like who cares? If you had to throw in Trey Flowers, if you had to throw in somebody like that, then so be it, obviously. Like, you do that in a heartbeat. So, two guys who could have helped this team now off the market. Josh Gordon, gone. CJ Henderson, gone. But to me, Henderson is the big one. He could have actually been somebody significantly better than DJ Reed and Trey Flowers. CJ Henderson had a chance to be such a big talent upgrade at that position that maybe the scheme starts to matter a little bit less. Maybe the bad coaching matters a little bit less. He could have elevated the whole rest of the defense, I feel like, if he lives up to his talent. And I will grant you that is no guarantee. He certainly wasn't great as a rookie. And for some reason, Jacksonville saw something with him they didn't like to the point where they basically just wanted to get rid of him. These things are true. But sometimes in the NFL, especially when things are not going well, you have to take risks. And I know this team has been more than happy to take risks in the past. The Jamal Adams trade, risk. Jimmy Graham trade, risk. Percy Harvin trade, risk. Why not take one more? It's not like we have a first-round pick next year anyway. Tanking is not really a good option. So, disappointed. Disappointed to say the least. We could have topped this offer. And, look, if you want to bring in Richard Sherman, fine, but I'm telling you, he's not going to save us. If you want to bring in Geno Atkins, sure, but he's not going to save us. CJ Henderson, a young blue chipper, that is somebody who could have at least gone a long way to saving us. And now he can't. All right, I'll see you guys later. Probably going to do at least one more video today because there's so much to unpack right now, but very disappointed that the Seahawks did not get involved in this one. See y'all later.